everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You can basically follow me on any social media platform, and don't forget to check out my official website at thereligioushippie.com. It's absolutely insane to me that the next time I'm going to be talking to you guys on YouTube, or sort of just in general, it's going to be 2023. 2022 had so many lessons that I've learned spiritually and just in everyday life. And I'm just so thankful that God gave me another year, because honestly, we never know. So I consider myself to be very blessed that I had gotten another year to grow in relationship with God and to learn the ups and downs of life and just kind of grow as a person. I am nowhere near perfect, but I am trying for sainthood, and I think trying is what counts. So in this video today, I wanted to talk about ways that you can better yourself in 2023. There's some Catholic things in here, but there's also just some regular everyday things in here that I think are important to know going into 2023 for young adults, but also just all ages, honestly. I think there's some things in here that people of all ages will take away from. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Now, I want you guys to remember that it does take about 30 days or about a month for habits to form. So just stay persistent and just keep pushing through. And I would love to know what healthy habits you guys are integrating into 2023. So the first thing I have for you guys is to identify your weakness and work on the virtue that combats that weakness. First, you have to identify the sin you struggle the most with. This sin is going to be very prominent. A lot of people will be able to tell you what it is. You can even ask close friends or family members what your strengths and weaknesses are. I would only do this with people you actually trust, though, because you know how people can be. These weaknesses and sins are very noticeable. Usually they stand out apart from the rest of our lives. So if you struggle with pride, maybe it's something where you can't take criticism, or maybe you spend too much time on your appearance. Maybe it's gluttony where you overeat or undereat, or maybe you consume too much TV or you're on your phone too much. Maybe it's sloth where you just can't get anything done because you're in bed all day on your phone. It just depends, but definitely go through and examine the last year and see what you did well in, what you didn't, and then find the virtue that combats that sin and practice that virtue. The next tip I have for you guys is to set realistic spiritual goals for yourself. Remember that slow and steady wins the race. Don't overwhelm yourself and risk Catholic burnout. You can start off small and then add things over time. For example, you can start off with the morning offering or the rosary or a prayer in general, and then you can slowly add things as time goes on. You can start going to daily mass or adoration. You can add another prayer in there or a novena, spiritual reading, etc. Customize your spiritual life so that you are keeping God at the beginning, center, and end of your day, but not overwhelming yourself to the point where you don't pray at all. The next tip I have for you guys is about managing money. Let's be honest. Financial stress is one of the most stressful things we can go through as humans. So it's really important to understand budgeting and finances. So here's some things you can ask yourself and do research on. Maybe you have a family member who's good at these types of things and you can ask them to teach you about them. So the first thing, do you know how to budget properly? Second, are you keeping track of your spending and income? 3, do you know how mortgages, 401ks, and bills work? 4, do you have a job, or are you in college or trade school for a job that can support your future family or yourself? 5, do you have any debt? And if so, how long until it's all paid off? 6, do you have a credit card? 7, how's your credit score? If you have no idea about some of these or all of these, it's really no problem. We all start somewhere, and it's good to start learning now in case you don't know. Again, see if there's a family member who can help you with these things. Otherwise, the internet is very helpful. You can Google YouTube videos. There's helpful internet documents. There really is a lot to learn about finances, so utilizing the internet is a great way to start. Next up is to read more and type less. I'm sure we all spend way too much time on our phones. I definitely do because it's literally my job, but that's not an excuse. I still need to set limits and boundaries with myself. So a great way to spend less time on your phone is to get some books that you really want to read. This can be fun books, or they can be educational, Catholic books, whatever you want. And then, of course, setting those app timers on your phone, making sure that you're not the one to set the password, because a lot of the times when we're having a weak moment, we will literally just type it in. Also, don't put the app timer on anything like actually important, like text messages or ways of communication, because we really still need to have those open just for emergencies. I'm talking more like social media apps. But yeah, and then just get a couple good books, put it within arm's reach. So instead of reaching for your phone, you'll reach for your book. Really only works if you put your phone in another room. Some people I know even put it in a drawer and like turn it off. I can't do that because I have to be available. Like, I get phone calls all the time randomly from people who need opinions on this or that for work. So I can't do that, but I definitely do set app timers on my social media. Another thing you can do is the St. Joseph or Marian consecration, or both, because I have done both and both of them are fantastic. There's really nothing like consecrating yourself to Jesus through Mary or St. Joseph. And these books just have so much gold in them. I highly suggest you do the consecration to up your spiritual life during 2023. The next thing you can do is you can start volunteering. I know that not a lot of people are the biggest fan of spending hours doing work and not getting paid for it, but trust me, when you're doing it for a good cause, like a soup kitchen or something, you don't need money. You get paid in happiness. It's important to practice the virtues of poverty and humility, and we can do that by humbling ourselves and helping others without expecting anything in return. Next thing you can do is you can declutter. Do you have things in your closet you haven't worn in the last year? Declutter it. Do you have books, knickknacks, clothes, objects, pictures, whatever it might be, cluttering up your house that you never use and probably will not use? Declutter it so that somebody else could use it. And this doesn't just go for our spaces. This could also go for our mind. Learning how to declutter our mind is really important. Finding silence, processing our emotions, journaling, all of that is really important for growth. So I highly suggest not just decluttering your space, but also decluttering your mind. And the last thing I have for you guys is to study the faith. I think that this is probably the most important thing we can do in 2023, especially for those of us who maybe aren't sure about certain topics. Find one topic you're really passionate about in the Catholic Church, and then just research that topic. I think it's important to learn about things we're actually interested in, and the Catholic Church has so many topics and interesting things to research that we'll never get bored. So I highly suggest doing more research into the Catholic faith in 2023 if you haven't already, because there really is an inexhaustible amount of information out there. And no matter how much we learn, there will always be something new. Personally, for me, I really like learning about the spiritual warfare side of our faith, about exorcisms and all of that. But I'm also really big into Marian apparitions, and I'm also dabbling a little bit into Gregorian chant and the sacred language of Latin. But with all of that being said, the next time I talk to you guys, it will be 2023. So happy New Year. I hope you guys have a safe and blessed New Year. And I am praying for all of you going into 2023. And I pray for you always anyways. But I hope you guys have a blessed New Year's, and I'll talk to you guys in 2023. Bye, guys.